Katina Anglin.
And I'm Ellen Peguero.
Welcome to another edition of
A Good Show.
Now, last year, Sis, we did a series on the family structure. Feminism versus femininity, and how did feminism affect the family structure, if it did. And we know that the nuclear family is constructed with the male and the female and the children of that union. So the husband and the wife and the children is what is recognized as the nuclear family. And since we have already looked at feminism and femininity, feminism is the ideology that says that, you know, women are equal to men and can do things, the same things that men can do, and can do things even better than men can do them.
And we don't need them.
We don't need any men, and men are evil and wicked, and we shouldn't be having sex with men because then it's not pure, and it's just, as we said, gone off rails.
Well, we shouldn't be having sex with men that we're not married to. Let's make that clear.
Exactly. But as we said, that it had gone off the rails. When it first started, it started as a fight for recognition of equal value in society. And so there was a fight to have the right to vote. And this eventually became the right to work, and then it slid down the hill.
It got out of control. It went not where it was intended to go.
It's now gone to where it is that there's an attack on the men.
Yes.
And trying to displace men from their masculine roles. And then on the other side of that is femininity. It's where grace comes in at being a graceful woman, being with elegance, with respect, and conducting yourself with honor. And I'm really glad that we did do that, because I had the privilege of talking with a young woman about the difference between respecting men and feminism. And there was this. She sort of had this belief that if she respected men, then that meant that she was some sort of slave. And that's part of the teaching of feminism, is that, you shouldn't be submissive to men. And submissive is about being respectful, being honorable, being a woman that your husband can actually come to and sit and talk with and talk to. You
can discuss, of integrity.
Yes. Conducting yourself in honorable fashion and manner in public, and even in private, in your own home, because you have some women that you listen to the way that they treat their husbands
and
in
the way
home.
They speak, and the way they speak down to them.
Yes. And so, but being a submissive woman is a woman who the husband can relate to, and every wise woman should want to have a relationship with their husband where he actually wants to sit and talk with her.
Yes.
He wants to discuss business, wants to hear from her, because she has proven to him that she is his right hand.
Right.
She is his partner. She does have his best interests in mind.
Yes.
Yes, she does run her household. She is the queen of this family. And he holds her up in that position, and he defends her, and he's there, and he says, look, you better respect my wife, or it's going to be me and you.
Exactly.
And however he chooses to get that point across, he'll do it in his own way, but he stands in front of her and is her shield, So now that we have taken a look at feminism and femininity, let's now turn to masculinity and chauvinism.
No, that's heavy.
Yes. Thank you for joining us for this segment of A Good Show. Says, masculinity is defined as the set of qualities and attributes, traditionally actually, that are regarded as the characteristics of men and boys, right? For most women, that would be things such as being the protector and the provider, opening the door, pulling out the chair, being gentle with his wife, being present in his children's life,
yes,
lives, and being the contributor to the household. And I say not the breadwinner, but the contributor, because some women have the capacity to earn more money than their husbands do.
Yes,
so,
and for them not to be intimidated by that.
Yes, you just do your best, right? Use your skill, use your talent, make an honest living, and you make your fair contribution to the household. And you're there as the father, the one who disciplines his children, and discipline is not about taking off your belt and beating them at the buckle. Discipline is being there as the father and being able to talk them through the situation before they get in trouble or after they get in trouble. Children don't know. I mean, they are learning. Even up until now as an adult, I would sometimes put my hand to my head and I'd say, can't believe I didn't see that, or I can't believe I said that, I can't believe
because
I did that.
It's an ongoing learning process. Life, that's life.
Yes, and children, they've just got here, and they will investigate. They don't know that it's going to work out wrong. They want to see how it's going to work out, and then the next thing you know, oh my goodness gracious, it's broken. What do I do? Now Dad realizes the danger of this broken thing, and he takes his son and he says, look, let me tell you why you can never do that again. You can't do that because this is going to be the outcome. Do you understand what I said to you?
But can I interject? But that is when the male understands his role, because the masculinity can also go in the wrong direction.
Yes,
if the feminism went in the wrong direction. So the male feels that he has full control. You do what I say when I say, or else.
And we're going to get on to that one in just a little bit,
so
right?
Let me just go here.
Yeah. So we're just talking about masculinity in the pure sense of it, right? Dad shows the child why it's wrong. And he makes it quite clear in the way that he speaks to that child that it can never happen again, And research has proven that when children experience certain types of traumas, they run to one or the other parent depending on what their psychological need is in that moment. If they believe that they need to be protected, they run to their dad. No, they run to their dad. If they believe that they need to be nurtured,
they run to their mother.
They run to their mother, right? The thing about mom's protection is that mom's protection is just so incalculable because she is the weaker of the two parents, but she is going to, in all of her, I can call it savagery in that moment because of her passion for that child, whatever it takes. Mom comes forward, the hen and the chickens, She comes forward and she'll do whatever she have to do to keep her child behind her. And that means that she places herself directly in the line of fire and makes herself susceptible. And as a result of that, the child can still end up being harmed. Dad is the one who, when he steps forward a completely different mentality. Right? And he steps forward as the protector. And research has proven that, if a child is out there and he's playing and he hits his knee, and mom and dad are both sitting on a bench together, and he feels sorry for himself, he comes running to his mom because he wants his mom to take him up and hug him and kiss him on the forehead and tell him it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. If that same child falls, hits his knee, and he wants the reassurance that his knee isn't destroyed, he comes to his dad.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Dad, look at my knee. Dad says, oh yeah.
Gonna be fine.
Yeah, go on off. It's okay, Dad. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, he believe him.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and that's why men have to be present in their children's lives, because a woman cannot be a father and a father cannot be a mother. I applaud the parents who have tried to play both roles. For whatever reason, they have tried to play both roles. The truth of the matter is that each parent, because of its biological makeup, carries different gifts, and the child knows what it needs, to the point where children will actually try to play one parent against the other. Right?
But you know, just to go back, and I think we had mentioned that in the previous show, there are situations where the one parent, whether it's because of the death of a parent or the separation and so forth, that there is that one parent, and you know, but even being that one parent, and sometimes it's a male, most of the times it's the female, that one parent still needs to try to keep the balance and help the child to understand, you know, here I am, you know, unfortunately your dad's not here, or your mom is not here, but nevertheless, you know, so children can understand that they still have the love and the support. But you go ahead, because I know you have a point here coming up.
Even if we consider the seafaring father, who was, in truth, an absent father.
Yes.
But the child's mother could say to that child, behave yourself.
Your father
when you come home. You didn't need to take up a belt. You didn't need to do nothing. You just told him. And father wasn't likely to beat you when you got home. But you knew that he was the authority figure.
And you respected that.
And you respected that, right? And you also didn't want to disappoint your father while he was gone out there on the sea, you know, risking his life to be able to feed you, and you giving your mother a hard time. Boy, tell me something what you were thinking about, you know? And so for reasons why father or mother aren't or haven't been present, there have been times when one parent is trying to play the role of the other. But that parent is truly cut out to play the role for which their biological sex means, right? So we have masculinity, which is the traditional qualities and attributes that are characteristic of men and boys. And then we have chauvinism. This is the male prejudice against women. This is the one that says I am better than you, and it can happen even in a marriage, in marital relationships. This is the one where he says, "Look, you're just but a woman." You know,
do as I say.
Yes, and I think when Dr. Sylvia was here, and we were having a conversation here, we were talking about lording it over the woman, you know, and we had that same conversation in one of the episodes on feminism, right? Is that sometimes when women rebel against their husbands, it's because of that approach.
Correct.
You know, it's where masculinity has gone wrong. You know, and even today there are cultures in which women are
demised and
you know, frowned on their property. Even a woman's, there are religions and countries in which a woman can be owned by her son, subject to her son's authority. You know, because of the fact that she's just a woman.
Yeah.
You know, and you can get into so much when you get into the chauvinistic mentality, and you will see that you know
that comes with a lot of oppression and abuse.
Yes, and it can be so dangerous when it's also in a workplace, right? When the boss is male and the employees are females, and his approach to it is that, well, you should be lucky that you got a job, you know, while at the same time he's got men goofing off on the same floor, you know, and he doesn't mind that. he'll go have a shot of whiskey with them, but the women must work because they should be grateful that they have a job, because after all, they're just women, you know.
Sad.
And it was this type of mentality that feminism tried to pull down and to tear down. The I am greater than thou type of mentality, you know. Woman be seen but not heard. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to see you right now, go back to the bedroom, you know. I watched the Three Stooges a couple of days ago.
Oh my God. Really?
Yes.
Most people don't even know what you're talking about. They were the funniest in black and white only. Yes.
So, you know, Curly,
Mo,
Larry, Curly, and Mo.
Yes, those three.
And so they had become members of this ex-men's only club, and the name of this club was WH, Women's Haters Club.
Whoa. Back then?
Yes.
Mo,
and
oh my
yes.
goodness.
But Curly, he met this most beautiful woman. He fell in love with her. Now he was in serious trouble. Because if Larry and Mo found out, well, he could no longer be a member of the Women Haters Club. And so he found himself behind her back saying all manners of rude things about her to Larry and Mo, and saying, you know, I don't know how this woman get into this cabin with me, because he wanted a train. You know, and he's saying to her, like, I don't know, these guys, but they acting like this, you know. But that is the sort of situation that we can actually find ourselves in when we are not in accordance with how God perfectly, divinely designed the relationship. Now, chauvinism can also negatively affect the workforce and the economic system in a country. Take, for example, in India. India has a production problem because it doesn't have enough in the workforce, laborers in the workforce. But in India, there's a certain, and this is not all of India, don't get me wrong.
No, it's not all of India.
What I'm talking about, and as people will see on the screen, is that because of the way that they view women in India, 50% of the workforce is not at work, which would increase their economic situation by 100% if you had these women out to work, you know? And so because of the approach that women are not as good as men, there can be an economic backlash as well. You were about to say something, sis?
Yeah, I just reiterated what you say. This is not all of India, but this is still a lot of various areas in India. And some of the Indians would like to tell you that among the well-educated, this is no longer so.
Yes.
You know,
right.
And yes, the degree, and they are right, but it is still exists even sometimes among the well-educated,
yes,
and so forth,
yes.
where, you know, men are dominate that women, even when children are born, if it's a girl,
it falls in a different class.
It falls in a different class.
Yes.
But it's not all of India. And it's not only India, there's other parts of the world. And we're not careful, because of so many different cultures in here, we find that there's a little remnants here and there also. But continues this. Interesting.
Yes. And that's, you know, speaking about the view of woman even at childbirth, and that the birth of a daughter is not as celebrated as the birth of a son.
So, yes.
You know? And even in today's culture, some women can be, some girls can be betrothed to a husband at the age of 6.
Oh.
Now, the marriage doesn't happen for a couple of years. She has to actually go into womanhood before he can receive her in womanhood, as in menstrual cycle.
Yeah, and that can start at 10.
And so, but this can be arranged from the age of 6, and this is even to today. So we're not talking about how things were 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago.
No, this is relevant
today.
We're
talking about what's happening today.
In various parts of the world.
Now, yes. Now, here in Cayman, there are so many, like you were saying just now, different nationalities and belief systems. And chauvinism is not something that's really discussed here in Cayman. Well, for most part, a lot of our men spend a lot of time at the bar and then they go home. So they're not caught up in all of the chauvinism thing. It's just, honey, listen, I go into my bed. If you want to row, you row, but I got to get up to go to work in the morning, But it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist here. And what we are trying to do by having these conversations, we're trying to look at the things that affect the family structure so that people can take a look at what it is that's going on in their heads, in their lives, in their marriages, in their homes, and say, okay, well, look, this is the problem that I'm having, but I'm not the only person in the world who thinks wrong like this. In trying to help to strengthen the family network, what we will do is we will take a closer look at these two competing interests, chauvinism and masculinity, over the next couple of weeks and run a series on these, because there are some great men in Cayman. And they get into relationships and they say, every woman I meet says this about me, but they don't understand me. And they're right when they say that, right? But part of it is they're not also understanding themselves. And they don't realize that the attitude that they are taking is one of a chauvinistic attitude. And I'm not saying breaking a man apart and all of this. What I'm saying is let's help them to become masculine men.
Because as you say that, you bring it home, my mind began to really think about a lot of, many, I shouldn't say a lot, but some of our young men that I am aware of. I mean, they have no career, and presently where they're at, they're not going anywhere, but they are very controlling with these young ladies and who finds themselves being, you can't look here, you can't talk to this one, you're my woman, you don't have anything to say. We do have this here in Cayman, and it doesn't necessarily come in from other nationalities, some of our own homegrown, and we find this a lot throughout the Caribbean. And again, within the Caribbean, and I'm not going to list out anybody to get upset about their country, but our neighbor right down the road from us here, you find that there are some people in the country part where men still feel that women doesn't have a say. A matter of fact, it's in the church.
You're talking about?
Yeah, I wasn't calling nobody name. Some people, and yet no, but it is not all against, like India, it's not all people, right? And they, even in the church, they struggle, should a woman preach? So, and then they read the scripture that says, wives, submit yourselves to your husband, but they don't read the rest of the scripture that says, husband, treat your wife as Christ treats the church and love the church. So we find that this control, is very much alive, though in various parts of the world, it can cause a woman her life. And even here, and even here. So and again, if you remember back on one of our shows, I say that sometimes the way the men behave has not helped. That it pushed the feminism.
That they brought it on themselves because of the chauvinistic
So
behavior.
what I'd like for us to really do is to do the research and really try to encourage, this unity of the family, this unity of male and female.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I believe this has even pushed the LGBT or whatever it calls itself.
Well, now everybody just refers to it as the alphabet people.
The alphabet, right?
Yeah, it just keeps
because
growing,
some
so.
people, like, you know, women didn't treat me right, men didn't treat me right, you know. So let us look at it in more depth.
Yes. Okay. So I just want to go back before we close out the show. I just want to go back to something you said just a moment ago about wives submit yourselves to your husbands, and that is the scripture that is often misinterpreted by men as I have permission to lord it over you.
Yeah. No, you
scripture.
don't.
And no, you don't.
No, you
That is talking about being in partnership. And it says, while it says that she must respect her husband, it says that the husband must love his wife.
Yeah.
Right? And so we can talk about all of that some more on the next show. We want you to stay tuned. This is going to be a really, really interesting series, because we're going to take the feminism and the femininity, and we're going to couple that and compare that and balance that with the masculinity and the chauvinism. And then at the end of this, then you'll see, you know, how this all comes together and how the family structure really works perfectly. So thank you so very much for staying tuned with us this afternoon. Sis, we have
to do a giveaway.
We're going to give away.
By the way, I love your fusion pink.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Ellen is doing what the Bible told her to do as
older woman.
As an older woman, to invest herself in younger women, and I'm one of those that she is helping. So, and in return for you being here to hear that wonderful compliment about my fusion pink dress, we want to give you a gift certificate from Glamorous Hair Studio at the Ritz-Carlton. Just call us on 929-6657. Thank you so very much for staying tuned to A Good Show. And Ellen, you want to tell them how it is that they can find us again?
You're viewing right now Cayman Life TV, channel 33, Logic. We're here on Tuesdays and Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Tune in, invite your friends. God bless you, and we'll see you on
Sunday and Tuesday at 7 p.m. here on A Good Show. Thank you. God bless you.
A Good Show is brought to you by the kind donations of private sponsors like yourselves and the support of companies such as Media Warehouse, 7 Miles of Grace, H. Philippi Bank's Attorney at Law, Dragonfly Cayman, and others. To become a sponsor, an advertiser, or to make a donation, email agoodshow@christian.ky.